I regret the time that I got high and wrote a hit song and it made me insane amounts of coin. Coin I used to buy more drugs. And a motorboat. And a house for my mom. Plus, I gave some to charity.
Hey, so before the video starts, I would just like to point out that I made a massive goof in my last challenge. So in my last gaming challenge, Can I Beat The Last of Us 2, pistol only, in the LE sections I actually was using my revolver and not my pistol because I am an idiot.
You fucking moron!
For some reason, my dyslexic brain thought the revolver was a pistol, and I realized that about 2 seconds after uploading that video.
That is not my pistol.
Liar!
So I guess I actually beat The Last of Us Part 2 revolver only, which is actually a way harder challenge, so I guess that's cool, maybe? Also, if you're new here, this is the first video of mine that you're watching, welcome, I am a moron. Smash that subscribe button! And I will now lay down on the ground and wallow like a baby for my horrible mistake, which is good because that's actually what my next challenge is about. Ooh, how about that sick transition? Yeah, I'm great. Anyway, you guys have seen me do a no crouching challenge before, which didn't end up being all that bad. However, what if I tried to beat The Last of Us Part 2 while only crouching? Can it be done? Probably not. But let's be real, almost every challenge I attempt I can't actually beat. Even the ones that are attainable, I still manage to mess up all on my own. But before that, let's go over the ground rules I followed during this run. So my goal is to remain crouched or in prone for as much of the game as possible. As long as I'm not standing, I'm good. Obviously, if my character is standing in a cutscene, that will not count, and if they're still standing at the end of a cutscene and I have to crouch back down, that will also not count either. I will be allowed to use all my weapons on this run, as well as bricks and bottles, for the clear and simple fact that I suck at stealth. And when this challenge is relying on me being stealthy, that is really going to be a problem. Also, I'm not allowed to stealth kill the enemies because your character does stand up a little bit when you do this. Also, for some reason, I decided I wasn't going to count when characters open doors and you have to hold the triangle button. I don't know why, I was just being weird, but whatever. I will also be playing the game on normal mode.
Pathetic.
I thought about playing it on hard, but then I remembered that I actually need to be stealthy during this run, and I don't really have the best track record with that. It's not like I can run away if I got caught or anything. Now I'm sure you're probably wondering, what about the chase scenes, or the bloater fight, or the Rat King fight? Don't worry, we'll get into all of those soon enough. But for now, strap in everybody, because this is going to be a rough one. So our journey begins with Joel riding on horseback, which technically isn't crouching, but since the game is forcing me to ride on horseback, I'm not going to count it. Unfortunately, I am going to have to count Ellie not crouching during the opening town section. Yes, I know, the game technically isn't allowing me to crouch down, but I'm not going to go too easy on myself, alright? Luckily, I can remain crouched during the snowball fight. So now that we're done with the incredibly slow town section, I began the Abbey area by slowly waddling my way to victory, and only slightly losing my mind by how slow it was. And Abby does stand up during the cliffside area, so let's add that to the counter because it's technically not a cutscene. I also have to add a point for when Abby jumps across this ledge. And the game auto makes me stand before I reach the infected area. So in the first combat area, the game does force me to stand up in order to dodge the enemy. And because of the way the first combat area is set up, it was very hard to get enough distance between me and the infected to shoot him on the ground. And so I will count this as a fail. Also, when I ran out of ammo and had nothing to use against the rest of the infected, that is when I realized that this is the time to turn on infinite ammo. And I blasted my way through the other infected like a champ. And of course, the Ellie section opens up with her and Dina on horseback. But since I technically need the horses to get around certain areas in this game, I'm not going to count any horse riding sections. I mean, Ellie is technically sitting on the horse, and that's one step away from crouching. Right? Right, guys? Hello? Also, Ellie does have to stand up to look at the pretty landscape, because the game won't progress unless you do that.
What do you think of this view, huh?
It sucks! So I stealthy styled my way through the infected at the supermarket like nobody's business. I decided to turn on infinite crafting as well so I can make silencers. To be honest, it was the only way I was actually gonna make it through this area. So after escaping the nightmare that was the supermarket, Dean and I ventured off into a blizzard to get home, just like going to a regular supermarket. And of course, I had to stand up to turn on the generator at the library because why would Dina want to be helpful when she could just stand there and watch me like a useless idiot? And then we got high.
Wow, I'm accepted!
Meanwhile, in Abby's world, so my strategy for getting through the ski lodge fight was to just sit myself in a corner of the room and rapid fire shoot any of the infected that got too close. All I have to say is thank goodness I turned on infinite ammo, because if I ran out of ammo and the infected got too close, I was forced to stand up and had to restart the whole encounter. And I did have to run away again when we were fleeing from the ski lodge, so naturally the emotionally stunted Abby decided to take her aggression out on Joel.
How do you like that, berry blast? And by berry blast, I mean a blast to your berries!
So I waddled my way into Abby's place and watched Joel die horrifically, like you do. Also, the game wouldn't let me crouch during this section. A great way to make this moment even sadder. Then we made our way to Seattle and I had to stand up by the generator near the Saravina Hotel because why not? So I creeped by the infected at the dome building like the little goblin that I am. Getting through the courthouse was super simple. I just sniper shotted the infected with my arrows. Easy as pie. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. Since the infected were rushing towards me in the basement fight, the best strategy was just do what I did in the ski lodge. Mount in place and wait it out. Fortunately, unlike the ski lodge, this time I actually had bomb arrows. So after getting the gas, we headed off to the hotel where I stood not only once, but 2 more times. Fantastic. Dina and I blasted our way through the hotel, and possibly for the first time ever, Dina was actually being helpful. I know, I can hardly believe it either.
You get the generator. I'll open the gate. You remember the code? The one written in blood? Yeah.
Well, that's good, because I skipped the cutscene, so I certainly don't remember it. So I get captured and have to stand up while I'm running over to save Dina. Gosh darn it, Dina. All you had to do was not get captured. What kind of idiot would let themselves get captured like that? So the school fight went pretty good. I bombed my way through the area and then casually waddled my way through the carnage. Pardon me, pardon me. The outside area was simple enough. I just destroyed everyone that got in my way with zero mercy or regard for human life. Pardon me, excuse me, coming through. So anyway, we escaped the school. I crab walked my way through town and very carefully snuck my way through the bombed area. This is also the moment where I decided that this was going way too easy, so I turned the difficulty up to hard. And after standing up whilst Dina and I dangerously made our way around the building, and yes, I had to get up and run away into the sewer like a little mole person, I snuck my way past the first infected. I trap mined and shotgun blasted my way through the second area like a boss. And then I bombed my way through the last infected section, quickly realizing that this one was gradually turning into a bomb arrow only challenge. And after all that nonsense, I had to get up and run out of the sewer like the little mole person hater that I am. I don't know how and I don't know why, but I am sure that this is Dina's fault somehow. So anyway, I stood up to turn on the generator, and the shame from once again failing my challenge was so great that it knocked me straight into another flashback. Naturally, I was able to easily snake my way through the first Hillcrest encounter. Then I decided to relax by a warm fire. Ah, so calming. Somehow I managed to get through the entire Hillcrest section without standing up, which was pretty impressive all things considered, though it definitely took some of the intensity out of certain scenes.
Don't let him escape!
We've got them surrounded! Close in!
Coin I used to buy more drugs.
And then Jesse and I got into a car. But since I am sitting, I'm not going to count this as a fail. Because as we all know, just like horses, you sit on top of cars. And therefore, cars and horses are the same. So I can't crouch during the Tommy Sniper section, so let's just add that as a fail. It's always the Tommy Sniper section. Always! The hotel fight was fine, aside from the fact that I ended up failing after Joel got grabbed and it ended up taking me too long to waddle my way over to save him. Bummer. Outside of that, it was fine. Honestly, the best way to survive a swarm attack is to just sit in a corner and take the enemies out as they spawn. So I have to stand up to shimmy through the wall after the bloater fight. The bloater fight was a real pain in the butt since Ellie moves so slowly, and this area really was intended for you to be running around a lot. I died quite a bit in this area. Eventually I got the thing, but it was way harder than I thought it would be. And after having to run around a dumpster to get out of the hangar area, or whatever the heck this is, we reached the stalker fight. Despite my concerns, the first stalker fight was actually pretty easy. I just sat in a corner and attacked my enemies as they piled up. This strategy was actually really effective in this run. Unfortunately, I started to get a bit cocky and ended up accidentally blowing myself up in the second stalker fight. In the end, it was my own ego that was my downfall. The first scar fight was the bomb. The second scar fight I tried stealthing my way through, but come on. This is me we're talking about here. I then blasted my way through the hospital fight and waddled my way to freedom. This is so slow. So Ellie took a break from her quest for revenge to listen to some music. And here's where we ran into a bit of a problem. I had to stand up yet again to chase Nora through the hospital. Try though I might, for some reason my waddling technique just would not work through this area. I don't know why that could be. The basement fight was easy enough. I just used the WLFs as bait for the clickers, and while the enemies were distracted, I made my daring escape. Also, I found out that you cannot crouch before the Nora cutscene. Fair enough, I'm not really sure how threatening Ellie would come off if this was how she approached the woman she was about to brutally torture. And of course, despite how much I was spamming the crouch button, I was forced to stand up during the Ellie flashback. Dang it, Ellie! And despite the fact that my fail meter is skyrocketing during this run, Jesse and I ventured out into the city for the final moments of Ellie's stay in Seattle. I sniper spreed the first batch of WLFs. Then Ellie started acting a bit weird. I think she's going through a hero complex or something.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive.
I then snuck my way through the second WLF encounter with ease. completely undetectable. The mall fight was a real pain in the butt because I kept getting spotted. I think it just wasn't a good sneaky day for me when I was recording this. And after rowing my boat past the last human encounter, we got to, you guessed it, the bloater fight. Fight was simple enough. I just blasted it with everything I had, and eventually it died. Yay! And then my boat got knocked over, I squatted my way through the aquarium like it was leg day, and then murdered Mel and Owen because they made me stand up in a cutscene.
Boss, you killed a child. Amazing. Mission complete. That right there is why you're the best.
And then for some reason, the game wouldn't let me crouch down in the last Ellie area before the Abster showed up. I bet this was your fault, Dina. I know it was you! So I waddled my way through the Abby flashback.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
Looked at this weird-ass bunny. And ferociously squatted my way to save my dumb dad from Joel. Unfortunately, crouch walking takes too long. But even worse than Abby's dad dying, I was forced to walk my way through the WLF base. No! So I hopped in the car and we sped our way through town. But since Abby is sitting in this section, I am not going to count it.
Road safety laws prepare to be ignored.
So we busted our way through the local Home Depot, and after I failed my challenge because Abby's stupid gun wasn't loaded, and I had to restart the entire encounter, I managed to make my way through the area with ease. Also, fun fact that I found out, if you try and pick up a rope in this game, your character auto stands up. I tried to get my character to crouch down, but whenever you do that, she just drops the rope. Not to mention the fact that you also have to carry a ladder. Even though you can skip the first half of this puzzle, for some reason you still need to do the second half. Why? I don't know. This game hates me. So after trying to stealth my way through the train yard fight and failing tremendously, I barrel crawled my way through the second area and somehow didn't die in the process. Yay me. And the gas station fight was no biggie since I always remained squatted in place anyway. So I have to walk my way through the WLF base, as if the wolves weren't evil enough. So I squatted my way through the aquarium like a boss, was forced to stand up while I was on the boat, ignored Owen because he made me stand up while I was on the stupid boat, and continued waddling my way through the building. So while I crouched my way through town and gradually going more insane by the second with how slow this is, I then was forced to stand up not once, but twice while shimmying my way through the same corner. I then reached the first scar fight, which I epically stealthed my way through. So I bombed my way through the second scar encounter like I was going to war, and only blew myself up a little bit along the way. And unfortunately, I was forced to stand during the Abby flashback. Screw you, Owen, I never asked for this! So then Abby tries to convince Owen to go on a murder spree in a flashback.
Abby, when the moon comes
I found Joel's brother.
How could you possibly know a thing like that?
I know what I saw, Vegeta!
Anyway, back in the present.
This is my arm!
Anyway, since I don't get my gun in the forest section, I had to stand up here in order to fight the stalkers. I'm sorry, but there was no other way. Same deal for the big lady at the auto shop. Now, I was pretty worried about the infected fight in the store, but it actually wasn't that bad. I just sat in the corner and blasted them all to Kingdom Come. Though I did have to be careful to track where the enemies were so they didn't get jumped. So Abby picked up Yara and carried her to freedom, even though I don't know why she couldn't just walk herself. Last time I checked, Yara, your arm got hurt, not your legs, walk yourself! So Abby dropped off the kids and headed out to get some milk. But we all know she's never coming back. So I blowtorched my way through the infected at the shipping yard with all the ferocity as a dude cooking barbecue. Normally I would just sprint through this area, but, well, you know. And I was able to easily stealth my way through the boat section, possibly for the first time ever in this run. I'm coming, Dream Dad! Eventually. Dang it! And after abandoning the kids, Abby then later returned to her children after learning that she would have to pay child support. So I saved the kids.
I'll kill you!
And then we head off to get Yara some medical supplies after Mel made it super clear that this was a time-sensitive mission and speed was key. So I blasted all the infected in town instead of just running past them, possibly for the first time ever. And I'm sure you are wondering how I'm going to go about jumping across the rocks. We all know that if you try and jump while squatting, it does not end well. But if I hit L1 while jumping forward really quickly, that will let Abby jump without standing up. So I blasted through the first scar fight like nobody's business, and epically owned the scars on the roof. And of course, I was forced to stand during the elevator ride. My thoughts exactly, Abby. So we crossed over the bridge, and Abby was being a real baby about it. And then I was forced to stand not once, not twice, but 3 times. Gosh darn it, Abby, why do you have to be such a fart? So I torched the stalkers, and then Lev and I epically squatted our way down the building and showed no fear. And I only had to stand up once along the way. The same could not be said when I was forced to stand as I entered the hospital. Dang it, Lev, I'm sure this is your fault somehow. Also, I have to stand while I'm walking with Nora. And I have to stand while I'm turning on the generator. Fortunately, I was able to sneak my way past the clickers in the basement. However, I think we all know that my luck was not going to last long. Now, the Rat King fight was annoying, because I vividly remember seeing a video where someone was able to kill the Rat King during the chase scene by lying on one of the gurneys in the hallway and shooting it till it died. However, I couldn't find that video, and when I tried it, it did not end well. So I just ended up running through the area normally. But I am pretty sure that there's a glitch where that will work.
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Regardless, I couldn't figure it out and therefore am a failure. However, during the fight, I could technically kill the Rat King without standing up, if I turned on one-shot kill. Which, yeah, that could count as cheating, but I prefer to think of it as creative ingenuity. And the mini Rat King fight went fine. I just torched the heck out of the poor little guy like I was in The Thing or something.
I told you to stay put.
I couldn't. Your friends are all over the place.
Lev, I only asked you to do one thing! This is why your sister's my favorite. Wherever she is. Anyway, I squatted my way through the last Abby dream. So symbolic. So deep. What does it all mean? Screw you, Jerry! This is all your fault!
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
So while I waddled my way through town on our hunt for Lev, Yara looked at me like I was completely insane, and then the game forced me to stand up while I was walking through the water. Why? I don't know. So to make myself feel better, I naturally abandoned Yara. It's what I do best. Getting through the Manny section wasn't too bad, since I normally just barrel crawl my way through it anyway. Unfortunately, I was forced to stand up while pushing the cart over to safety. Dang it, Manny, why can't you do that? Now, I was a bit worried about the infected fight with Manny, since normally running is a bit important in this area, and even though I did die hilariously on my first attempt, I actually managed to get through the area entirely crouched. Yay me. So after shoving Tommy off the side of a building like a psychopath, we got to the island. The first fight went fine. I tried my best to be stealthy at it, but since that is literally impossible for me, I just went with blowing them all to smithereens. And the second Scar fight went much better. I was crossbowing my way through there like I was from The Walking Dead. Daryl would be proud. I then sniper spreed the guys at the mall like a boss, made a mockery of Lev's home being burnt to the ground, and immediately made all of the enemies turn their attention on to shooting me at the fight at the convenience store. A true testament to my stealth abilities. Then in the last Wolves vs. Scars fight, I also got to prove my epic social awareness skills. But on my second attempt, I got through the area with no issues. Unfortunately, I do have to stand up during the fight against the big Scar dude. Boo, but whatever. So after slowly waddling my way through all the carnage and death, you see nothing, you hear nothing, I then proceed to make my way through the aquarium, clearly exuding my very intimidating aura, which naturally must have made Ellie flee the scene in terror. So naturally, we headed off to find her. And since I have to get up to punch Ellie in order to actually beat her in the fight, I once again had to stand up, failing my challenge. It really makes you think, is beating this game really worth losing my sanity? Depends how much revenue I make off of it. Meanwhile, Ellie was off living it up on a farm and making me fail my challenge again. This freaking game, I swear. So let's just skip the farm section and count the whole thing as one massive failure. Just like this game when it released. So as Abby, I waddled my way through Santa Barbara, and right into a trap. Great going, Abby. I then made my way through the last round of infected with only minor injuries to both my body and my mental state. And since I was being a total loser with the stealth this whole time, obviously that trend wasn't going to stop during the last area of the game. I love being stealthy. Somehow, the Ellie sections of this game were way easier than the Abby ones when it comes to remaining crouched the whole time. I don't know why. It's probably just because Abby sucks. So, battered and bloodied, I crouched my way to the end of the game. And just to prove what a massive failure this challenge was, the game decides to slap me in the face with one last failure right at the end. Well, actually 2 more failures, because of course we have to return to the freaking farm! Don't you people know that nothing interesting happens on a farm? This really is The Walking Dead. All in all, this challenge was a massive pain in the butt. And a complete and utter failure. Fortunately, all is still right with the world since Abby failed the challenge more times than Ellie. At the very least, I can take comfort in that victory. Anyway guys, that's all for now. Catch you on the next one.